Hi, my name is Ken Dobson. I'm the Economic Development Administrator for the Economic Development Division, Fulton County, Georgia. We're responsible for business attraction, business recruitment, business expansion, the creation of new businesses, serial entrepreneurship for the businesses and the people of Fulton County. That is 14 cities located within Fulton County, with the largest and most notable being the city of Atlanta. There are many things about economic development that inspire me, but I'll just mention two. One is that economic development has provided me the opportunity throughout my career to assist the communities that I work in, to generate revenue for the tax base, to help those communities provide the level of public service, human service, social services that any healthy, growing city needs. Having that responsibility inspires me, okay? The other is particularly favored to have the opportunity to actually work for the citizens of the county. These are the people with jobs that we bring in through business attraction and through entrepreneurship opportunities. Everyone who has a job will have an opportunity to get a better job. And for those people who have good jobs and want to go into business for themselves, of helping them to do that. So those are the two major things. We could put everything else probably into those two buckets, but there may be a few other buckets that we could talk about as well. It is being a difference maker. It is feeling that your life counts for something and that you are doing something unique, one, to help your city, your county, your region, your neighborhood, and on the other hand, to help the people themselves, not just the government and the resources, but the people themselves. Every day. The wonderful thing about the work that we do is the instant feedback that you get. Economic development is not done behind the desk. There are those administrative things that have to be done, but it is done in the field. It's on the street. It's coming directly in contact with the building and the people, the businesses that occupy the buildings. So you know you're doing a good job when you're working on a business and a building and there's a community around it. Maybe an industrial community, maybe a residential community, could be a commercial shopping center community. But when you are doing something and you come in contact with the people who are in that immediate surrounding, you know that you're either doing it right or they're making suggestions of other things that we might do. We only started. We don't have the answer. We start with the footprint, but we're constantly improving upon that. So if we are designing a building or if we are building a building, a neighbor might say, did you think about doing this, that, or the other? There's this nuance. Did you take into consideration? And we're always nimble enough and flexible enough in what we do and how we do it to incorporate that feedback into what we are doing. First of all, the Economic Development Administration, in my opinion, would not be here today had it not been for the good advocacy work. We were not allowed to lobby, but the advocacy work that both of those organizations did, and their connections to economic development officials throughout the country, mayors and city managers throughout the country, helped to retain a valuable federal resource for all of those communities that rely on those federal resources to do jobs and business development. That's a major accomplishment for IEDC and its predecessor, CUED. First of all, you get a job in economic development. And early on, you need to search for the purpose. You have a job now. The question is now, what do I want to do with and through this job? What is the purpose? What is the fire that's burning deep down inside that I need to inflame, okay? First thing. And then you need to begin building the skill set. that will add fuel to that fire. You need to make some basic decisions as a part of that process. Do I want to be a rainmaker, or do I want to be a processor? I can either be on the cutting edge of innovation and innovativeness. I can create projects. I can bring in people and businesses. I can do all those things, but then somebody has to process the work. Okay, they have to fill out the paper, file the applications, do all the analysis and the analytics and that kind of thing. What do I want to do? Okay, do I want to be a facilitator? Do I want to be a planner, or do I want to be a doer? Okay, these are all things that as we do our work every day, and we may be doing it for 2 or 3 years or 4 or 5 years, but all the time we are searching for a direction for our careers. And as a part of that process, we need to get in touch with purpose. Is this just a paycheck and I'll be doing something else tomorrow? Or do I want to make this a career? And if so, I need to go through this process. You can get all kinds of education and training once you make the decision of the direction that you want to take your career in. But that would be my suggestion. It's also good, as I had the benefit of, to identify a mentor. It is always good to have someone who is seasoned in the profession, to talk to listen to guide you, to give you feedback, to even give you constructive criticism when you need it, if you're really trying to base it on the accomplishments of the person that you have chosen as your mentor. There's a huge dichotomy in how people see economic development. Some people have the metrics, and what they want to see are the numbers to quantify. From my point of view, and the way I have always been trained, and the way I practice my profession, is we build businesses, we build buildings, but most importantly, we build lives, we build communities, we build economies. Very often we get bogged down in credit analysis and financial loan packaging and the nuts and bolts of building the building or building the business. But if we lose contact with the context within which we are working, and that is very important that we connect the technical side of what we do as economic development professionals to the real purpose that we are doing it. As I said in the very beginning, it is to help grow revenue for the budgets of the county, the city that we are working in, so that we can provide a quality of life that businesses will want to come to, that people will want to live in, that people will want to play in, that people will want to, but you've got to have the quality of life, and to have the quality of life, that governmental unit has to have revenue, and it is the job of the economic developer and the economic development organization to grow that revenue so that they can spend it on police and fire, on libraries, on parks and recreation, on all of those things to provide quality of life. That's one thing. So if we're just operating in an organization over here, attracting businesses in, and our work is being guided by the report that we turn in at the end of the week and the end of the month, and we're being analyzed by you either met your quota or you didn't meet your quota, you're missing the boat, okay? That has to be connected to why are we doing it? And we're doing it to help grow revenue, to improve quality of life on the one hand, and on the other hand, we're doing it to help provide the citizens, the taxpayers, with job opportunities, with economic opportunities, and with the ability to start a business and grow a business if they so choose to do that. So you could call it empowerment, if you will, to the people. Okay, it is economic opportunity for them to increase their wages, to grow income for their families, to be able to provide the education to their kids, to do all these other things that they need to do to achieve the American dream. Probably the biggest challenge is change. We are living in a world of continuous change. Economic development has been practiced over the last 50, 75 years based on policies, programs, based on tools, techniques, and strategies that were put in place when the economy was totally different, when the marketplace was totally different, when we were being driven by a manufacturing-based economy. So everything, the programs that were put in place, the strategies that were developed were all based on how we did economic development when we were trying to attract major manufacturers, smokestacks, when manufacturing plants were emitting smoke all over the place. That was in a world before sustainability came into play. It was a world before clean energy came into play. It was a world before all of what we know today came into play. But yet, when we apply for a loan or a grant, the number of jobs that we create are based on what those requirements were when we were chasing that kind of business as economic development professionals, rather the clean tech businesses and the advanced manufacturing businesses that we're chasing today. So one of the major challenges is getting the people that we deal with, from our supervisors and our bosses to the elected officials who make budget allocation decisions, to planning officials, to others, that we're living in a completely different reality. The paradigm shift is taking place. We're no longer living in the manufacturing-driven economy. We're living in a technology-driven economy that is influenced strongly by the global marketplace. And therefore, it requires the retooling of all of the resources in our toolkit, okay? The tools, the techniques, the strategies, the resources, the evaluation, all are different. Now, we have not made that shift. Your question was, what is the most difficult and hard thing to do? It is getting people to understand that it is a different world. We're operating in a totally different context, and to help us do our job within this new order, we need to have all of what is required by all the other stakeholders make that shift also. Now, that's probably the hardest thing to do. It is not difficult. It is a labor of life for me, okay, and for most of the people who are involved in that process. You like the challenge of being a change agent, of being a difference maker, and it may be 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, but you can incrementally see that change is occurring and that adoption is taking place. It may be late adoption, in some cases early adoption, but it's happening. I am blessed. I am one of the fortunate ones who, as a young person, a very young person starting out in economic development, to have been chosen by Ed DeLuca, the founder of CUED, who built the foundation for IEDC, as his protege. So all that I know about economic development stemmed from the time that I had with the founder of economic development in America, Ed DeLuca. Now, along with Ed were his cohorts who served on the initial board of directors. And by name of people who served on that board that had a direct impact on how I see the world and the skill set that I have and the passion that is involved in all of that is a person, and none of these people are around anymore. But these are pioneers on whose shoulders I stand and everybody else who is in economic development stand every single day, okay? From Ed DeLuca to Andrew Bennett to Ellen Barnes to Dr. Harrington Bryce to Curtis McClinton to James Shipp to Ken Fry. Those people have left their fingerprint on my life and on my career and on the way I have practiced economic development for all these years. And I am forever indebted to them to have the kind of profound impact on my professional career that would be comparable to what my mother and my father had on my personal life.